Back in 2012, Julian Newman became famous for starting on his high school varsity basketball team in the 5th grade. At that age, Julian was viewed in a very different light than he is now. Playing against much older competition, there was really no expectation for him. Any positive play that Julian made was amplified due to his age and small size, but every bad play was shrugged off because, again, he was so young and so small in comparison to everyone else. In Julian's case, he made a lot of positive plays as a 5th grader on varsity, averaging 12 points, 10 assists, and 4 steals per game. As great as that may sound, this 5th grade season ended up sending Julian down a path that left him with 0 college offers and little hope at an NBA career. Because Julian was balling out in the 5th grade, he became an internet sensation, and expectations came with that. The belief was that Julian would continue to grow, improve on his game, and start getting college offers once he officially entered high school. However, things didn't turn out this way. Julian only grew to be about 5'7", his skills appeared to peak at a young age, and his team was never considered a national powerhouse. When you combine all this with his attitude on the court, you can see why so many people have called him overrated and not worth the hype. But is it possible that this was the best path for Julian to take? That's what we're going to be discussing in this video. Now, before I get into the video, please keep in mind that I'm simply trying to present a different point of view on Julian's basketball career. He's been a very polarizing figure in the basketball world, and I wanted to try my best to look at both sides of the argument and offer an opinion that I haven't seen many people giving when it comes to Julian Newman. With that being said, let's get into it. Most people would argue that Julian's basketball career should have been handled differently, and if it were, maybe then he would have been able to play D1 and eventually some form of pro basketball. However, the counter-argument to that would be that the route Julian took was almost inevitable, and that it has actually put him in a better position to play professionally one day. See, I never liked the Julian Newman and LaMelo Ball comparison very much, but they are similar in one way. They were both viewed as prodigies at a young age, and because of this, their families believed that they could take any path to the league. If you listen to old interviews of LeVar, he said time and time again that LaMelo was going to be the best of his 3 boys. LeVar realized that Melo had been playing up against much older players his whole life, and that he grew up playing against higher levels of competition than Jello or Zoe did. As a freshman on a state championship winning Chino Hill squad, everyone could see the kid's potential. He had the handle, the jumper, a strong feel for the game, and most importantly, LaMelo had extreme confidence in his abilities, and LeVar bought into the hype. He knew that Melo was destined to be an NBA lottery pick, which is why he pulled Melo out of high school, then took him to Lithuania, and then to the JBA, because LeVar knew that the talent was there. Unfortunately, we learned that even a 5-star recruit can have his draft stock affected when he's not playing in an environment that scouts take seriously. NBA and college scouts weren't watching LaMelo's games in Lithuania, and they certainly weren't paying attention to the games he was playing in the JBA. It wasn't until Melo played on a legit high school team with Spire or in a top-tier pro league in the NBL that people started taking him seriously again and were reminded of how talented he really was. Julian's father, Jamie, ended up falling into the same trance that LeVar did. Hypnotized by his kid's immense talent at such a young age, Jamie couldn't imagine a scenario in which his son didn't play in college and make it to the league. Julian has always had a great handle, crazy range on his jump shot, and no one would ever question his confidence. But the main thing that he lacked besides height was a great feel for the game. The biggest reason for this is that his father's coaching at Downey Christian was not teaching him how to play the game properly. I'm not here to hate on Jamie as a father because I don't know him personally, and that's not my place to speak on him, but I can criticize him as a basketball coach. If you have ever watched one of Julian Newman's games, you could tell that his teams had absolutely no structure. The offense was essentially give the ball to Julian and let him chuck 30-foot three-point shots all game. However, like I said earlier, scouts won't take you seriously if they don't respect the environment you're playing in, and nothing about Downey Christian's style of play warranted scouts' respect. As a result of this, it's understandable that a kid as talented as Julian never received any D1 offers. But it's not really Julian's fault that things turned out this way, and in all honesty, we can't completely blame his father for the way everything's ended up either. Like I said earlier, LeVar pulled LaMelo out of high school because he felt that Melo could take any path to the league. But if that were the case, why not just leave him in high school? If Melo were that talented, he would have still been able to make the NBA by staying at Chino Hills, right? Well, yes, he definitely still would have made the league, but the main reason LeVar pulled him out of high school was because he didn't like the mentality of the team's new coach. In order to live up to his potential, LeVar felt like he needed to be around Melo, training and mentoring him along the way. When he pulled Melo out of high school, LeVar said that he would train him at home. When Melo and Jello went to Lithuania, LeVar went with them to oversee the situation, and then he ended up putting Melo in his self-created JBA league as well. It wasn't until LeVar saw a lot of himself in Spire's head coach Jermaine Jackson that LeVar trusted another person to train Melo with the same intensity that he would. The same can be said for Jamie Newman. Julian was trained by his father growing up, and Jamie may have felt that his son would be better off being coached by him over any other coach or trainer. A lot of people might say that Jamie was exploiting Julian by keeping him at Downey Christian, since he knew that Julian could be the star there, but I think that would be jumping to conclusions because, as I just discussed, Jamie wouldn't be the only basketball parent that wanted to take on the responsibility of coaching or training his kids. While Jamie should be given credit for the skills he's taught Julian and the work ethic he's instilled within his kids, it's reasonable to believe that Julian's basketball career could have been a lot different if he went to a high-profile basketball school from a young age. Julian Newman grew up in Orlando, Florida, and if you follow high school basketball, you would know that there are a lot of good high school basketball teams in this area of the country. Obviously, there are academies like Montverde and IMG, but there are also schools such as Potter's House and Oak Ridge that have earned reputations as great basketball schools in the state. The point being that there were better basketball programs that he could have played for, many being public schools with free enrollment that might have been able to develop his game better. Yes, Julian did look like a prodigy when he was very young, but by the time he was in the 8th or 9th grade, there should have been a realization that he could not just take any path to the league. A lot of people like to say that Julian's height is the main reason for him not being able to get to the next level. And while height, strength, and athleticism are all very helpful in getting D1 scholarships, they aren't everything. As I said earlier, your basketball IQ and feel for the game matters a lot as well. There are a lot of 6'8" guys that can windmill but don't know how to play the game, and they don't make it anywhere in basketball because of this. It goes both ways. A guy that is comparable to Julian in terms of height is former 5'5" NCAA point guard Junior Robinson. Robinson went to Mount St. Mary's, a smaller D1 school, but he became one of the best players in their school's history. Since then, Robinson went on to get a shot in the NBA Summer League with the Atlanta Hawks, and is now playing pro basketball overseas. While he is more athletic than Julian is, in a lot of these clips, Robinson is relying on his skill more than anything else. He's great at creating space off the dribble, he's able to change pace effectively, and he knows how to use his body to get layups at the rim. These are all abilities that shorter players must have if they want to get to the next level. Another great example is 5'2", 150-pound guard Darnell Rogers, who starts on a 7-2 UMBC team. It was hard to find many clips of him, but in these highlights against LSU, you can see that he plays in a similar way to the aforementioned Junior Robinson. He doesn't over-dribble, he knows how to change speeds, and he's able to position his body to get layups at the rim. These are all things that Julian, who is listed at 5'7", could hypothetically be doing. He's an extremely skilled basketball player. He was just never taught how to best use those skills. Throughout his entire life, Julian's been wired to believe that the way he played was most effective. His family and friends all told him how amazing he was, and they were right. Julian was amazing, and he still is amazing to this day. Julian was head and shoulders above his peers at Downey Christian, as well as most of the competition he went up against. Hate all you want, but you do have to be pretty talented to score as many points as he did during his high school career. Did his path end up hurting his chances of playing D1 ball? Yeah, it most likely did, but it also ended up bringing him tons of notoriety and fame in the basketball world. It's safe to say that Julian Newman is a very interesting case, and when assessing his basketball career, we have to really look at the weight of the good and the bad. Think of Julian Newman's career as a trade-off. If Julian Newman had taken the ideal route in his basketball career, he would have never had a family brand, a reality TV show, or this level of recognition despite not playing organized basketball for almost a year now. On the other hand, if he had sacrificed the popularity for going to a better basketball school and becoming a more fundamentally sound player, maybe he would have been able to play D1 or at least some level of college basketball. However, playing college basketball is very difficult, and there are a lot of amazing players that never get offers. So yes, maybe he gets a few scholarships if he plays for a better basketball program growing up, But is that worth it in the end? Without his level of popularity, would pro teams around the world ever know who he was? It's not a guarantee that just because you play in college that you're automatically destined for a pro career. The good thing for Julian is that he is extremely popular and he'll never be completely forgotten about. Now, you should have a conversation about the morality of putting a child in the spotlight. If the parent is being exploitative, or if it's something that the kid really doesn't want, then any potential positives that come with the fame are meaningless. On the other hand, if it's something that the kid embraces and the parents have good intentions, then putting them in the spotlight is a good thing because people will know their name. However, we can't say for sure which of these is true with Julian, so for now we can only look at Julian's celebrity status at face value. At face value, Julian's fame seems to be great because even if he's 20 or 21 with either limited or no college basketball experience, he may still be given a chance from a small overseas team or given the opportunity to play at some college because people will watch him wherever he goes. If he had never gained as much fame as he has, this option would not even be a possibility. As crazy as it may sound, the route that Julian has taken has given him a better chance of playing pro basketball somewhere one day. Now, I don't want to make it seem like Julian will 100% get picked up by some pro team just because he's popular, because while Julian is a very skilled player, there's no denying that he has a lot of work to do. There are a lot of people that call Julian trash because they watch his lowlights and see him fail time and time again. But when you say that, also consider that Julian is an undersized point guard that has been asked to go 1-on-5 every night. Julian never played with any offensive system growing up, so even if Julian passed the ball more, he'd just be giving the ball to a less skilled one-on-one player in most cases because that's what the entire offense was predicated on. I'm not saying that Julian is some criminally underrated player or that he'd have tons of offers if his offense was more sophisticated, but I do think that we should cut him some slack. For example, a lot of people clown him for only scoring 5 points against IMG in his senior season, but again, what do you expect to happen when you have a 5'7" point guard going 1-on-5 against a team of future D1 players? Like I said, Julian is a very skilled player, but he has to learn how to better use those skills before he can play at the next level. Right now, Julian has the advantage of being famous, but since he wasn't some elite 5-star prospect in high school, he'll have to earn the respect of pro teams. He could do this by playing some level of college basketball in the future or playing in a pro-am league like the Drew League. The options are there, but Julian's still got to go out there, earn those opportunities, and prove himself once he's given the chance. I hope he keeps working on his game because although it may be slim, he still has the chance to make a career out of basketball. Maybe he'll never be the NBA superstar that people thought he was going to be when he was just a young kid, but if he ends up playing pro basketball in any league, he'll have accomplished something that not many aspiring basketball players ever do, and that's something that's worth celebrating.